This morning on Houston Newsmakers, the challenge of dealing with hate in our community. It was hate behind the cyberbullying that recently led to the suicide of an 18-year-old Texas City girl. What is a challenge of stopping bullying of all kinds before it starts? Our experts will weigh in. And hate speech of all kinds has been brought to the surface during the recent presidential campaign. Is this the new norm? And what impact will it have on how we respect each other? Houston Newsmakers look at bullying and hate.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
Good morning. Welcome to Houston Newsmakers. This is normally a joyful time of the year. Christmas is next week when Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. The 8 days of Hanukkah starts on Saturday when Jews celebrate the triumph of light over darkness and spirituality over materiality, among other qualities and virtues. We're surrounded by the lights of the season and shopping that goes with it, yet there seems to be much more hate this year. Why is that? Has the political campaign brought it out in the open? It may seem that way to some, but experts say the reality is that there has always been and always will be a battle between good and bad and between love and hate. Our conversation this morning will be about how to make sure the good wins in our community and what we can do about it. Joining me this morning, Dina Marks, who is the Associate Director of the Anti-Defamation League Southwest Houston region, and Rania Mancarios, the Executive Director of Crime Stoppers of Houston. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
I think that this is a great combination, two organizations that do different things as your primary goal, but you're also kind of working together on some issues as it relates to our community. Let's talk about, first of all, what your organizations generally are set up to do. The ADL, if people don't know anything about the ADL, what is your mission?
Our mission is to stop the defamation of the Jewish people and secure justice and fair treatment for all citizens. So we are a civil rights organization for everybody. And it has evolved to protections for everybody. Maybe it started out as for protection of Jews, but it does a lot of things for all people as far as discrimination is concerned. Yes, yes.
Okay, what about Crime Stoppers? Someone's tuning in, they never know, they don't know anything about it. What is Crime Stoppers?
Crime Stoppers is a 36-year-old nonprofit in Houston, Texas, and our mission is to solve and prevent crime in partnership with citizens, media, and law enforcement. And that's the overview, the simple. Yeah, and everybody knows that tip line, 713-222-TIPS, but we're also really, really active in crime prevention education, and that's a huge market for us. We're in the schools, we're in communities, we're everywhere we can talking to people about crime prevention.
Let's talk about the bullying aspect of it, because both of you are involved in that, bullying and cyberbullying and the impact it's having on our community, specifically our children. Before we get into the depths of that, I do want to talk about the definition of bullying so we can have a clear understanding about what we're talking about. And from the Anti-Defamation League website and the section devoted to bullying, it says bullying is the repeated actions or threats of action directed toward a person by one or more people who have or are perceived to have more power or status than their target in order to cause fear, distress, or harm. And the cyber part of that is just adding the technology, computers, cell phones, and that sort of thing. How much is bullying and or cyberbullying a part of what your organizations do right now?
Well, as far as my organization is concerned, it's something that we look at, that we try to prevent, that we respond to all the time. We just completed our Bo and Abe Murphish No Place for Hate youth conference, where we had middle school students come together to fight bullying and cyberbullying, all No Place for Hate schools. So it is a big part of our mission, because bullying can be caused in many cases by bias.
And No Place for Hate has been around for how many years now? And it's kind of started really developing roots within a lot of school systems within our region.
Well, in our region, it's been around for about 16 years. Mm-hmm. So about 400 schools usually every year. Okay.
Crime Stoppers we normally think of as crime out in the community, but there are a lot of things going on within the schools that you now as an organization have developed roots as well.
You know, our Safe School program's been around since 1997, but over the last 97, but over the last 4 years we've really expanded it. We're in the schools and we're talking about bullying and cyberbullying. Why? Because we know that over 50% of kids are the victims of either bullying or cyberbullying. We know of those 50%, a majority will tell nobody. They're not going to tell their parents. They're not going to report it to social websites. They don't want to tell school counselors. They're afraid. Mm-hmm. You know, 90% of kids say they've seen it. And we know that shooters in school and other types of criminal activity often stem from this area of bullying. It's incredibly critical that we go in, and we go into every school that will allow us. It's always a free program. What we talk to these kids, what is bullying? What is cyberbullying? How do we prevent it? What do you do if you're a victim of it? Why it needs to stop?
And most recently in our community, the tragic consequence, a cyberbullying incident, the young lady talks about it, resulted in the suicide death of a young lady in Texas City. It was one thing for this family to lose their daughter, but even more tragic was how it happened right in front of them. KPRC reporter Jonathan Martinez reported on the way this incident of cyberbullying turned deadly.
I was almost certain that I could persuade her to put that gun down. Today, it didn't work.
A heartbroken father left devastated after the loss of his daughter.
Kept telling us to turn around so we didn't have to see it. Very hard to deal with.
Her family says 18-year-old Brandy Vela took her own life Tuesday after months of cyberbullying. A small memorial now grows at the family's home with kind words of support.
I don't know that people realize that cyberbullying is a lethal weapon.
Dr. Harvey Rosenstock is an adult and child psychiatrist. He says all too often bullies don't realize the impact they have on their victims.
It's injurious to what we call the internalized picture of the self. It's a permanent scar.
Dr. Rosenstock says that's the reason all reports of potential bullying should be taken seriously before it proves tragic. He also believes more awareness and education about the dangers of cyberbullying are key to making a difference in what's become a more common occurrence.
When kids themselves understand that they may be an agent for the destruction of someone's soul, as it were, I think they would take this a lot more seriously.
I would like to look at somebody in the eye and tell him, you know, what he did to me, what he did to her and my family.
That's tough to watch. And when you have that on your site, how important is it for you as an organization to evolve so that people know that there's some place for them to go on your site to be able to get information about how to stop this sort of thing?
Well, it is very important for people to know that they have resources out there. They have the Anti-Defamation League. They have Crime Stoppers. They have all sorts of resources online that they can look at. Be an ally trainings and be a cyber ally trainings that we can provide for them. And we do this all the time in the schools. All they have to do is go to www.adl.org and they can find our sections on cyber hate and cyberbullying.
And I know I saw you recently that you teamed up with Sprint for a program that also has to do with that. Talk about that.
We have materials in every Sprint store in Harris County. They've teamed up with us because they recognize the reality that kids live online. They live on social media. They use their smartphones. They use technology. This is how these kids live. And they want, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but they have to do it safely. To quote the piece we just saw, cyberbullying is a lethal weapon. These kids have no resources. They're completely exposed, and they're exposed at levels we can't comprehend. There are thousands and thousands of people following these posts.
And we're going to talk more about that because it is difficult, challenging to comprehend because it's a moving technology, growing and changing, morphing as we speak. We're going to continue our conversation with Dina Marks and Rania Mancarios after this break. We'll talk about the ways we all can get involved in stopping the bullying in our schools and in our society. That's next when Houston Newsmakers continues.